you could say that the space itself represented the aesthetic of the place. Because you couldn't go in there and do something like you can in a black box theater. There was no getting around the train going by. There's 3 closet doors sitting there. There's the windows and there's the radiators, and I mean, it just wasn't, it was never meant for a formal. So it had all this funkiness about it. and it's also exists in this, I mean, it's down the street from Wrigley Field. You know what I mean? This just existed in this neighborhood that was just, it was a great neighborhood that way. I mean, it was hell if you wanted to drive there and park. But and we were there early on when it was the neighborhood wasn't, the neighborhood, the whole evolution of that neighborhood was very interesting. So it was a whole confluence of things that made Lynx Hall what it was. And, I was part of that, and what I did was part of it, but there was just the physicality of the building which you couldn't escape. You couldn't escape the train. I mean, Frank Melchior used to do these things. I would have him in the Chance Dance Fest every year. And he'd talk. He's a performance guy. He would talk. And other people would do this. I remember, they would start talking, and the train would come, and they would just stop. And then they would start talking again. Because you couldn't talk through it. I mean, you couldn't get away from the fact that the train, and I still have wonderful moments when someone was doing something that the music wasn't so loud or was silent, and there would just be this silence, and all of a sudden the train would just go by. And everybody knew what this was. And you can't even count how many times that train's gone up and down the tracks, gone by those windows. It was just part of the ambience of the place. So it was a special place. I mean, even this weekend, there's people come and say, well, I missed the doors and windows. I mean, there's several people who just came up and said this to me, just out of the blue. I missed the doors and windows of the old Lynx Hall. But I think what they have here is absolutely terrific. My God. I think the fact that they pulled this off is phenomenal. And I swear my hat goes off to Roel and the whole staff and the board. It's just completely, and it blows my mind, and it blows Charlie's, Carol's mind, because we never could even imagine operating at this level.